It's good attention to detail, Wednesday.
Yeah, that's in the past, man. Okay, so just recapping the game. Thought we did a good job in the run game for the most part. No pass. I thought that we executed the plan for the most part. A couple plays he got out, and I thought that we played pretty violent. Had the one takeaway, always trying to strive to win the takeaway battle, which they won. So our guys got a little chip on their shoulder about that, but ready to go to Dallas.
What led to the decision to have Avante split time at safety? Is that all you, or is it something when he comes to you and sort of collaborate?
No, we always have, pairs and spares, and if this happens, what if this? We got a bunch of different plans to go about, and the head coach, does a really good job. He forces us to talk through those things and be ahead of those things, which is what you want to do. I thought it was a good job by D. Will and DK to get them caught up, but the nickel position, you guys heard me talk about, that's a thinking position in the defense, as is safety, and those skill sets really in our system kind of match up. They're very like positions for us, so that's how we decided to play, and Avante did a really good job with that because anytime you're playing safety in base, there's a lot of mental stuff going on, and then when he's got to slide into inside and sub, there's a lot of mental stuff going on. So I thought, he's obviously a very smart player for us. He handled it well, and he played extremely well for us. So I liked where he was at. Again, it was a good job by the DB coaches, and we'll keep moving forward with different ways to deploy people versus different people because of what they do. So happy where that was, though.
You always talk about
Good. He's going to get out there today and go. He's not limited, I don't think. So we'll get him back into the mix and get him going.
You always talk about slot and safety being somewhat mirrored in your defense. Is that for everybody, or do you have to have sort of that savviness that Avante has?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, they are mirrored positions, but it is a little bit of different skill set. And typically, when you have a guy that can do that, he usually has a unique skill set. So, all of the skill set that we're looking for at nickel, a lot of that can translate to safety. Hence Chauncey. That's kind of a good example there, right? Played slot his whole career, comes and plays safety and plays really well at safety. So, again, it's kind of player unique, because I've been around certain guys that probably couldn't slide back and play safety. Certain guys can go inside and kick outside to corner. Certain guys can play all three of them. Certain guys can go to nickel and then kick back to safety. So we honestly just, took advantage of Avante's skill set with who we had up and deployed them that way.
You mentioned the run defense. The last 3 weeks have been very good. What do you attribute that success to?
I think consistency of being in the right spot, playing blocks the correct way, good pad level. It's always going to come down to technique and winning your one-on-one battles. So I think we've been doing a really good job in the run game. We got to continue to do that because this team that we're going down to play, they run it extremely well. And, that's a big part of the game on first, second down, because if you're letting them get 6 or 7 a pop and they're playing a game in 2nd and 3 all day, it's a tough way to go on defense. So that's got to be at a premium all the time, especially this week with how they're moving the ball down the field.
They'll have Dak under center this time. What have you seen from the offense since he's been back in the lineup? What kind of different challenges from last time?
Yeah, they stay on schedule. They can create explosive plays. They stay ahead of the sticks is what I mean by stay ahead of the schedule, which to me then that's what we talked about to our guys. They're playing on their terms for most of the game, and you don't want to let them play on their terms. They got a really good O-line, 2 good backs, quarterback plays at a high level. They got skill guys everywhere. They do a good job on 3rd down to keep the chains moving, and they score points in the red zone. So, this is a big-time offense, a big-time challenge for us.
What are some of the keys to be so successful with stunts up front?
When on pass downs, just I think a couple things go into that. One, we always look up when we set up, the game plan and known passes, match up first. So our people versus their people. And you heard me talk about scheme versus people and scheme versus scheme. I think they got to, our front has a pretty good feel for when to use certain tools. We set it up in a way that we say, hey, here's your tool bucket, and you can apply these tools when this happens. And we got a smart room. Those guys are smart, and they've played at a high level, and they've played a lot of ball. So I think, and then, using those tools is one thing, but executing those tools is another thing. And I think what you're seeing is our guys that's why, when you see sacks and things happen like that, Sweaty makes the sack. Well, Graves set him up, because he really made that stunt go, what Grave did to the guard, and then what in turn that does to the tackle when Sweaty's looping around there. So we just got to be smart. You don't like to do that too much because you can get out of whack at times. But I feel like our guys are know when to apply their tools and do a good job executing those tools. And the more that they do that, and they're with each other out there, then they got a good feel for it and know how the timing of those things hit and how to execute them. And they're doing a really good job with it.
JG, 29 sacks all last year. You almost doubled that this year. How much of a priority coming out of last year was, obviously you got Reddick, you got BG back, but how much of a priority was fixing that position or helping that position coming into this year?
Yeah, I think, it's always a priority of ours philosophically to affect the quarterback, and you can do that a lot of different ways. But we came out of last year knowing that, we gotta do a little bit better in this area. And it's not a winning stat to me, but you do want to affect the quarterback. So I think that, being the second year in the system for those guys, I think that adding some pieces, getting BG back, adding Haas, it's the players are making a bunch of plays, and I think also what goes a little bit people overlook is the back end, because rush and cover and rush, that does make a difference. So you saw earlier in the year, the rush is getting to him and the quarterback's throwing the ball before he really wants to throw the ball, and we're taking it away. Well, now he's holding it a little bit to see stuff come open, because he doesn't want to throw it without being on time or late. And the rush is getting to him. So those things all go hand in hand, just like run defense, pass defense. It's all 11 out there. So as much as we stay connected and play the right way, guys are going to have individual production because their teammates are doing their job.
So you guys are up against the scout team in particular. What stands out about Gardner when he's on the field?
What I love about him from the quarterback position, being a defensive guy, is he plays extremely fast. He makes fast decisions. He gets the ball out of his hands. He knows where to go with the ball. He knows how to checkmate you by what coverage you're in. He's a very smart player, and he's accurate, and he does a good job for us on scout team. We always, if you go out on that grass, when we go, 2s versus 1s or 2s versus 2s or 1s versus 2s or cards or whatever it is, you got to be on it or he'll make you look silly out there.
What's been
We
the
saw,
reasoning?
we saw Hassan drop into coverage, and I think he almost had an interception there and everything. Just what does it say about him just always kind of being around the ball, whether it's dropping in the coverage?
Yeah, that particular play, that's a hard play for him. He was in the right spot and understood where he had to get to on that particular play. And it was a good job by his coaches because we actually put that play in walkthrough, and he did a good job with it. So it was good to always see you get something. A lot of times it's hard to match up what you get in the game versus what you're calling. And the coaches said, hey, we need this play for Haas to get this in, and I wasn't going to put it in. And we put it in, and sure enough, he got the play. So, he obviously has a very unique skill set like all our overhang players do. And when we ask him to drop a little bit, because you need to have him drop a little bit, they need to be in the right spot, which he was in the right spot and almost picked it off. So that was a good play because it set him back behind the chains.
What's been the
dangerous a deep weapon as you face?
Say it again, Merrill.
Is CeeDee Lamb as dangerous a deep weapon as you'll face?
Yeah, he's a good player. I mean, it's one of those receivers I always talk about, they can beat you multiple ways. And, the more and more you watch of him, obviously he's a very good route runner. He's got elite ball skills. He can beat you over the top. He can beat you underneath. But what really impresses me about him, the more and more you watch, is he's very strong at the catch point, and he's actually pretty hard to tackle. I don't think he weighs a ton. He's probably around 200 pounds or whatever he is, but he's a very strong player. So we got to do a good job at the catch point because he wins a lot of 50-50 balls. That's why his volume's so high. And he creates a lot of yards after catch, yards after contact, because guys don't wrap him up and bring him down. So that's part of his skill set, and our guys are prepped for that. We got to do a good job on it.
What's the phrase, earn the right to rush the passer? A, what goes into it, and B,
how much of an emphasis is that in the meeting?
It's always an emphasis. You're always trying to get the offense to known pass, and a lot of times how teams play us, even when it is known pass, they don't pass the ball or give you some different concepts. So our guys, really what that means, Zach, is we got to do a good job on first and second down to get the game on our terms on either second down or third down. And that's really just comes down to alignment, assignment, key technique, and violence, and winning your one-on-one. So if we can continue to do that, then hopefully we play the game on our terms.
What's been the reasoning for Jordan not playing much of those times?
He's getting back into the fold. He's going to continue to play, and we got to keep getting him in. He's playing some different spots for us now, so I look forward to what we're doing with him this week, and he'll be up and playing.
Is it just having Lindell, or is
You
it
got 6
injury?
guys up, you know what I mean? So sometimes the snap counts. It's hard to get everybody a bunch of snaps, but I like that we have 6 guys up because it keeps that room fresh. We can rotate, get certain matchups that we want to have, and he's ready to go.
Hassan always kind of brings up when he talks to you that you want to listen to the players, and you've told me that before. There's different ways to get things done, different techniques, and you want them to be comfortable. Where's sort of that line where you want to listen to the players, but you want them to get done what you want done?
Yeah, when we set up the game plan, it's always with our players in mind, and then we, as we sit down with the coaches and, hey, here's how we want to defend people, and this is what we want to do, and here's kind of our staples, and here's kind of our bullets, so to speak. And in game, I like to talk to everybody because they're the ones in between the white lines. So if I thought that this stunt was going to be good because we saw all week this is how a guy was setting, well, they could be setting different because who we have out there. So, and I can't really feel that in real time. The players can feel that real time. So we always check in with our players, and we decide how we want to do things, and I always listen to the players because they're the ones playing, and they ultimately make it go. It's not the call that comes out of my mouth. It's the 11 out there playing. So they've been doing a good job with that, and I appreciate their feedback because it does help me in game.
You made that offseason decision to switch the rooms, give Jeremiah his own room, those edge guys. Have you seen that? Have you seen the difference with that over the course of the season that has played out?
Yeah, I think, and they meet together a lot too. That's kind of, that front meets separately at times and meet together just like the back end does. But I think that, time on task with your own, the more, I'm going to butcher this word because we always laugh about it when I say it, specificity. The more that you have of that, typically the better, and I related to when I was a DB coach, it's like, you're coaching all 5 on a certain play, but if you could only coach 2, the detail that you can get in is a little bit more when time is a constraint. So I like where that we did that. That was really the head coach. That was a really good adjustment by the head coach moving into this year. And you can see, both of those rooms collectively and individually are playing at a high level. So kudos to the head coach and kudos to the coaches.
There's been a lot of talk about complementary football this season, with the offense picking up defense and vice versa. With the uncertainty at quarterback for Saturday, do you guys feel that you guys have to basically do a little bit more than what you guys normally do?
No, that's a good question. We always try to do enough on our end to put our team in position to win the game. And, obviously when we sit down with the head coach and Shane and Clay, we talk about how the game's going to go, and if it gets a little off script, this is what we're going to have to do, or whatever the case may be. But I'm always concerned about playing good defense, no matter who's out there for us. I'm, good, clean, physical football, and keeping the score down.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you, guys.